The child's voice cracked, just above a whisper. "Daddy. I can't find you." The soldier froze. Every instinct that had carried him through battles and storms deserted him in that moment. The K9 stiffened at his side, ears up, breath fogging the cold. Silence pressed hard. Only the girl's words echoed, fragile but heavy, louder than any gunfire he had known. But to understand why they were there, why the dog refused to move, we have to go back to when they first set foot in the abandoned barracks, snow biting through the doors, shadows already waiting. The girl's whisper carried again. "Daddy?" And in that instant, the soldier knew something was about to break. The wind crawled through the shattered frames of the barracks like a thief, stealing warmth, stealing sound. Snow fell in jagged flakes through gaps in the roof, gathering in quiet piles across the warped floorboards. The soldier stepped carefully, his boots sinking into drifted corners where the storm had forced its way inside. His rifle weighed steady in his hands, but it wasn't the weapon that held him still now. It was the voice. Soft. Trembling. Barely more than air. "Daddy. I can't find you." The whisper drifted from the girl crouched behind him, small hands clutching the thick fur of the K9 by her side. Her breath rose in fragile clouds, her eyes wide and searching. She wasn't screaming, not begging, but the weight in those words froze him more than a shot ever could. He turned his head slightly, eyes narrowing, ears straining against the cold silence that followed. He knew this kind of quiet. Not peace, but pause, the kind of quiet that waits for the next move. The K9 bristled. Its ears stood erect, nose twitching, body low to the ground. Not fear. Not confusion. Readiness. The dog's training had taught him to trust what others overlooked. Tonight, he didn't need training to see the truth. Something was here. The soldier knelt, his breath fogging, his voice measured. "What did you hear?" The girl didn't answer. She only pressed her face into the dog's side, whispering again, softer, broken. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's chest tightened. He studied her face, the pale skin stretched with fear, the way her words came not like a warning but like a memory. She wasn't imagining this. She was remembering it. The K9 growled low, a rumble that carried further than its throat. Its eyes locked on the far end of the hall, where the snow had piled against a half-collapsed door. The soldier followed its gaze. A shadow moved there, not bold, not fast, but deliberate. The kind of movement made by something that already knew where you stood. The soldier raised his rifle, sight fixed on the door. His voice sharpened into command. "Stay with the dog. Don't move." The girl whimpered, her whisper breaking again. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's finger tightened against the trigger, his breath steady, every sense taut. He had cleared ruins before, stalked corridors like these in cities abandoned by time. But he had never done it with a whisper behind him reminding him of what was at stake. The shadow stilled. Snow slipped through the cracks, a curtain of white. Nothing moved. Then, creak. The door shifted. Not wide, not fast. Just enough to remind him it wasn't the storm moving things anymore. The K9 barked once, a sharp crack of certainty that ricocheted off the stone walls. Its body tensed, ready to spring, eyes locked. The soldier froze. He had trained this animal, trusted it through fire and flood. One bark meant only one thing: there was someone there. He steadied his rifle. His voice cut low. "Who's there?" The silence answered back. Then another whisper. Not hers. Not his. From the other side of the door. "Help me." The soldier's chest constricted. The words were faint, as though buried beneath snow, but they were clear. The girl cried out, clutching at the K9's collar, her voice rising. "Don't. Don't let him find me." The soldier kept his sight locked forward, though his mind split in two. The voice was human. It carried pain. But the girl's terror wasn't random, it was specific, heavy, and absolute. The K9 growled deeper, claws scraping the floor as it braced forward. Its amber eyes flicked back once to the soldier, then forward again, never wavering. Waiting for the command. The soldier's pulse hammered steady. His choices were narrowing. He pressed his shoulder against the cold wall, eyes narrowing at the thin seam of light between the door and the frame. His breath steadied. His trigger finger flexed once, then stilled. Behind him, the girl's whispers grew softer, more insistent, repeating the same plea over and over, like a prayer torn into pieces. "Don't let him find me, don't let him find me." The wind howled through the cracks above, but it wasn't strong enough to wash her voice away. The soldier edged closer. He had been here before, in villages broken by shells, in streets where silence betrayed the living. He had learned to trust small sounds, to separate lies from truth. But this whisper, this one felt different. His hand signaled the K9 forward. The dog lowered, shoulders rippling with muscle, every sense tuned like wire. The girl whimpered, clutching tighter. Her voice cracked into something sharper now, the weight of panic trembling in her throat. "Daddy, don't go." The soldier froze mid-step. She hadn't called him that before. For a moment, the word carried heavier than the wind, heavier than the whispers, heavier than the rifle in his hands. His breath caught. He turned just slightly, seeing her face, eyes wet, lips trembling, her gaze not at him but through him, into some space only she could see. He wanted to ask. He wanted to demand answers. But the door creaked louder, shifting again, pulling his sight back. "Help me." The whisper came once more, drifting through the seam like smoke. The soldier pressed his back against the wall. He lifted his rifle, heart pounding. The girl's voice cracked behind him, rising into one final, fragile plea. "Don't let him find me." The K9 barked again, claws tearing at the floor, its growl exploding into the silence. The soldier's breath hitched. His hand pressed against the wood, icy under his glove. His rifle sight lined with the seam. He pushed. The door shuddered, snow tumbling through the crack. The whisper rose again, louder, sharper, no longer just pleading, commanding. "Help me." And the soldier knew, this wasn't a voice he could ignore. But whose voice was it? He inhaled once, steady. His finger curled tight. And as the door began to swing inward, the girl's scream cracked the silence, tearing through every wall of restraint. "Daddy, no!" The door crashed open. Open. The door slammed against the fractured wall with a sound like a shot. Snow burst inward, scattering across the warped floorboards, and the soldier's flashlight cut a beam into the darkness beyond. Dust floated in the air, heavy, disturbed by the motion. He held his breath. The rifle braced firm in his grip. The K9 pressed forward, chest low, nose stretched into the frozen air, a growl rumbling steady as a drumbeat. For a moment, the room beyond seemed empty. Just broken bunks sagging against rusted frames, blankets shredded and stiff with age, a table overturned, its legs snapped like brittle sticks. The silence pressed in, but not the silence of an empty place. This was silence waiting to be broken. Then it came. "Help me." The whisper slithered out from the far corner, curling through dust and snow like smoke. The soldier's breath hitched. It wasn't faint anymore. It was sharp, direct, as though spoken right into his ear. The girl whimpered behind him, her hands clamped over the K9's collar. "Don't let him find me." Her voice cracked into pieces, each fragment trembling against the stone. The K9 barked once, the sound exploding in the cold air. One bark. Clear. Certainty. The soldier froze. He trusted that bark more than any signal, more than any sound of his own senses. The dog didn't guess. The dog knew. His beam swept the corner. Shadows stretched long, fractured by broken furniture. And then movement. A hand, thin, dirt-streaked, fingers raw and torn, clawing at the floor as though dragging the rest of a body behind it. The soldier's sight locked on it. His rifle steadied, finger hovering. He crouched lower, his voice cutting sharp through the air. "Stay where you are." The hand stilled. For a second, silence again. And then, laughter. Low. Weak. Shattered at the edges, but laughter all the same. The girl shrieked, curling tighter against the K9, her voice breaking into the same refrain. "Don't let him find me. Don't let him find me." The soldier's throat burned. He had heard fear before, but this wasn't panic, it was recognition. The hand clawed forward again, pulling more of the figure into the light. Shoulders hunched, hair matted with frost, skin pale as bone. The man's chest heaved with shallow, rattling breaths. His eyes snapped open, wide, wild, glinting with something the soldier couldn't place. "Help me," the man gasped, louder now, his body collapsing against the floorboards. His voice cracked, desperate, but beneath it ran a tone too steady, too sharp. The soldier's rifle didn't move. He didn't lower it, but he didn't fire. "Who are you?" His voice was flat, demanding. The man's lips peeled back into a broken smile. "I'm lost." The K9's growl deepened. Its body pressed forward, muscles taut, claws digging furrows in the wood. The girl sobbed louder, shaking her head violently. "Don't believe him. Please. Don't let him find me." The soldier's chest tightened. He didn't doubt the girl's fear, but the face on the floor was human. Flesh. Blood. Broken, but alive. He had sworn never to leave a man behind, not in snow, not in silence. Yet the weight of the child's plea clawed deeper than any oath. The man crawled forward another inch, his fingers scraping against the wood. "Help me," he begged again, his voice shuddering. The soldier caught it. That echo under the words. That second layer. Not just desperation. Not just pain. Something else, shadowed beneath. The K9 barked again, sharp, a sound that shook the dust loose from rafters. The soldier steadied his rifle. His eyes narrowed. "Don't move." The man froze, chest heaving, blood streaking his lips. His eyes rolled toward the girl, pinning her with a look that stripped the smile from his face and replaced it with hunger. She screamed, pulling the K9's collar so tight her knuckles whitened. "He sees me! He sees me!" The soldier's pulse surged. He lunged back, placing his body between the man and the child. His voice cracked like steel. "You don't take another step." The man coughed, spitting red onto the snow-dusted floor. His laugh rattled again, a hollow sound. "You can't stop me." The soldier's jaw tightened. His rifle sight aligned dead on the man's chest. He had fired at figures like this before, shadows with weapons, men with fire in their eyes, but never at someone who looked broken and begging. And yet the K9's certainty and the girl's terror told him what the man's voice would not. "Help me." The whisper curled again, but the man's lips didn't move this time. The sound floated from the walls themselves, echoing where no mouth had spoken. The soldier's stomach dropped. His rifle wavered for just a heartbeat. The girl shrieked louder, her whisper tearing into screams now. "Don't let him find me. Don't let him find me." The K9 lunged forward, its teeth snapping at the air, dragging the soldier a half-step closer. Its growl ripped through the room, deep and final. The man's eyes burned brighter, sharper, his lips curling again into that smile. "Found you." The soldier's blood iced. He had seen it, the recognition, the claim. This wasn't random. This wasn't a plea. This was a hunt. He steadied his rifle, finger curling against the trigger. The girl's scream cracked sharp, desperate. "Don't let him find me." The canine barked again, one sound, sharp, cutting. The soldier inhaled once, steady. He made his choice. And as his fingers squeezed, the whisper roared louder than gunfire. "Help me!" The shot cracked, light flashing through the dark. The girl screamed. The dog lunged. And the room split wide with the sound of things that could no longer be unseen. The rifle's crack ricocheted off the stone and timber, louder than thunder in the frozen barracks. The flash lit the man's face, pale, streaked, wild-eyed, and for a single heartbeat the soldier thought it was over. He had put rounds through enemies who had never risen again. But this one didn't fall. The man's body jerked, shoulders convulsing, his chest shuddering under the impact. Yet instead of collapsing, he steadied himself on trembling arms. Blood darkened the floorboards, soaking into frost, but his head snapped upward. His grin widened, lips splitting across cracked teeth. The soldier's finger tightened instinctively, cycling another round into the chamber. His voice roared into the hollow space. "Stay down." The man laughed, broken but deliberate. The sound tore at the silence more than any scream could. The girl's cry split the air. She clung to the canine's collar with such force her small fingers shook white, her words tumbling out raw. "Don't let him find me. Please don't let him find me." The canine lunged forward, teeth snapping at the air, claws shredding the splintered wood, its growl vibrating through the soldier's boots. It wasn't warning anymore, it was fury, it was certainty. The soldier adjusted his stance, rifle aimed square. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice steadier than his racing pulse. The man coughed, blood bubbling across his chin. "I'm the one she belongs to." The soldier's stomach turned to stone. The words weren't shouted. They weren't even strained. They were stated, like a claim that had never been challenged. The girl screamed louder, curling against the canine. "No! Daddy, don't let him!" The word daddy rang like glass against the soldier's chest. He had never told her to call him that. It had slipped from her lips as instinct, not title. But hearing it now, bound up with terror, pressed a weight into his bones heavier than any mission he'd carried. "Help me!" The whisper came again. Not from the man's lips. Not from the broken mouth smiling at him. It slithered from the walls, curling around his ears, echoing in places no throat should reach. The soldier's rifle wavered. His ears strained. The whisper repeated. "Help me!" Then again, from another corner, overlapping. "Help me!" The voices multiplied, layering until the room seemed alive with them. The canine barked once, sharp and final. Its ears pinned back, its eyes fixed not on the man, but the shadows. The soldier steadied his rifle, pressing the stock tight against his shoulder. "You're not taking her." The man's grin sharpened. "She already came back to me. She always does." The soldier's chest burned. "Not this time." The man laughed again, ragged and broken, his blood staining his teeth. "Then choose." The soldier's eyes narrowed. "Choose what?" But the answer wasn't his. The whisper rushed in, layered with dozens of voices, distorted, broken, a chorus that bled through the walls. "Choose." The soldier's breath stuttered. Sweat slid cold down his temple, despite the freezing air. The girl screamed louder, her words shattering. "Don't let him find me. Don't let him find me." He turned his head just slightly toward her, steadying his voice even as the storm pressed tighter. "I won't. Do you hear me? I won't let him." The canine lunged again, growl booming, dragging the soldier half a step forward before he wrenched the harness back. The dog's fury was absolute, but its discipline held. The man on the floor pushed higher onto his knees, blood staining his chest. His eyes gleamed with something beyond pain, something sharp, alive. He tilted his head, his grin widening. She'll run. She always runs. And I'll find her again. The soldier snapped his rifle sight back onto him, finger curling tight. Not while I'm standing. Help me. The whisper returned, louder, sharper, circling the room until it became a wall of sound. Help me, help me, help me. It pressed into his skull, splitting his thoughts into fragments. His vision blurred. His breath rasped sharp against his teeth. The girl's sobs cut through. Please don't listen. Daddy, please. The soldier's chest clenched. He had trained to ignore distraction, to focus under fire, to cut through chaos and see the path. But this wasn't gunfire. This wasn't bombs. This was sound turned into a weapon, drilling into the marrow of his bones. He pressed harder on the rifle, anchoring himself to its weight, to its cold metal certainty. You won't touch her, he growled. The man tilted his head back, laughing again, blood spattering the floor. Then stop me. The soldier's vision sharpened through the scope. He fired again. The blast lit the room in white fire. The man's body jerked back, collapsing against the boards. Blood sprayed across frost and dust. The K9 snarled, lunging forward, teeth bared, but held when the soldier's hand pressed sharp against the harness. The girl shrieked once more, then buried her face against the dog's fur, sobbing into silence. The soldier held his rifle steady, sight locked on the man's chest. The body lay motionless, blood pooling, staining the snow. He waited. Breath steady. Trigger ready. The whisper slid again, curling like smoke from the cracks in the walls. Help me. The soldier's stomach dropped. The man's lips hadn't moved. His chest hadn't risen. Yet the voice was louder than ever, sharper, cutting straight through him. The girl wailed, rocking violently. He's still here. He won't stop. The soldier's throat burned. He pressed the rifle tighter. The whisper fractured, multiplied again, overlapping into dozens, then hundreds, all crashing together until the walls vibrated. Help me, help me, help me. The soldier's knees buckled under the weight of sound. His vision blurred into static. His pulse hammered like a drum. The K9 barked once more, loud enough to cut through it all, its certainty anchoring him. The soldier gasped, pulling the boy, I mean the girl, closer with his free arm, shielding her with his body. His voice cut rough through the storm. You don't get her. Not while I'm here. The whisper screamed back, unison now, louder than the gunshots had been. Help me. The lights flickered, shadows shuddered, the boards beneath the hatch groaned like they would split. The man's body twitched. Just once. And the soldier realized it wasn't over. Not by a long measure. The soldier's breath came heavy, white clouds puffing from his lips in the frozen air. His rifle remained steady, sights locked on the man sprawled across the boards. Blood pooled beneath him, dark against the frost, but the twitch, the small, undeniable jerk of muscle, still lingered in the soldier's mind. The K9 bristled, a low growl thrumming from its chest, ears pinned forward, eyes fixed on the body. Its tail was stiff, its whole frame alive with a tension that spoke louder than words. It's not done. The girl clung tighter, her knuckles pale where they gripped the dog's collar. She rocked slightly, her voice falling into broken rhythm. Don't let him find me, don't let him find me. The words were softer now, but insistent, threaded through with memory more than sound. The soldier crouched lower, his rifle never wavering. His voice cut sharp through the quiet. Stay down. The man didn't move. His head lolled against the floor, his mouth open, blood dripping from the corner of his lips. For a heartbeat, it looked like death had claimed him. Then the whisper came again. Help me. This time it wasn't faint. It was urgent, sharp, almost desperate. The soldier's chest tightened. He scanned the man's mouth. It hadn't moved. The sound wasn't his, at least not anymore. It was coming from around them, through the beams, the very air itself. "Help me!" It repeated, stronger, more insistent. The K9 barked once, loud, sharp, echoing across the barracks. It jolted the soldier's focus back, steadied his breath. He had trained this dog for certainty. One bark meant truth. And the truth was that whatever voice spoke now wasn't a plea, it was a threat. The soldier's finger curled tighter on the trigger. "What are you?" The whisper answered, ragged, layered. "Help me." Again. Louder. "Help me." The girl shrieked, throwing her small hands over her ears, burying her face against the dog's fur. "Don't listen. Don't listen to him." The soldier's jaw clenched. He had always listened. It was his job. Cries for help were never ignored, not in war, not in peace. But this one wasn't the same. This one carried something else beneath it. The man on the floor shifted. His shoulders twitched, his chest heaved, and slowly, painfully, his head tilted upward. His eyes locked on the soldier's. They weren't glazed now. They weren't weak. They burned, alive with a strange, fevered light. The soldier steadied his rifle. "Stay down." The man's lips stretched into a smile, blood streaking his teeth. His voice rattled, broken but sharp. "You heard me." The soldier's pulse pounded. His voice snapped, harsher. "What do you want?" The man coughed, wet and raw. Then, through the bubbling blood, the words came again. "Help me." But this time, his lips moved. This time, the sound came from him. The girl screamed, shrinking further back into the corner. "He's lying. Don't believe him. Daddy, please." The soldier's throat tightened. She had called him that again. And though he had no claim to the title, the way she said it, frantic, pleading, anchored him in place. It wasn't about blood. It was about survival. About trust. The K9 growled, lunging forward, teeth flashing, dragging the soldier a step before he yanked the harness back. The dog's certainty was unshakable. This was not someone to save. But the soldier's training pulled at him. Save lives. Answer please. Always. His own mind split under the weight. The whisper crashed louder. "Help me." It tore through the barracks, shaking dust loose from rafters, rattling the rusted frames of the bunks. The soldier staggered, his ears ringing, his vision flickering. He had heard bombs. He had felt shells collapse walls around him. But never had a voice alone rattled him to the marrow. The girl cried louder, sobs breaking her small chest. "Don't let him find me. Please don't let him find me." The man's smile widened. He pushed one bloody hand against the floor, dragging himself upright. His chest heaved, his body trembling, but he rose anyway. The soldier shouted, voice rough. "Stay down." The man's head tilted, his eyes sharp and knowing. "You don't get to tell me." The soldier fired. The blast lit the room again, echoing like thunder. The man's shoulder snapped back, flesh tearing, blood spraying. He laughed. The sound curdled the soldier's blood more than any scream. "Help me." The whisper echoed again, not from his mouth now, but circling, overlapping, bouncing from the broken beams. "Help me, help me, help me." The soldier gritted his teeth, sweat chilling his skin despite the cold. His hands didn't shake, he had steadied them too many times before, but his mind reeled. The girl sobbed, rocking back and forth, chanting the same words she had whispered since the beginning. "Don't let him find me, don't let him find me." The K9 barked, feral and violent, ripping the air with sound. The man staggered another step forward, blood dripping freely. His eyes locked on the girl. "Found you," he rasped. Her scream split the night. She buried her face into the dog's fur, shaking violently. The soldier's heart slammed against his ribs. He moved faster, stepping in front of her, raising his rifle once more. His voice cracked like steel. "Not while I'm here." The whisper surged, louder, harsher, urgent now. "Help me!" The boards beneath their boots shook. The walls groaned. The storm outside howled through the shattered beams. The soldier pressed his body firm against the stock of the rifle, eyes locked dead on the figure. He had faced enemies with weapons, with numbers, with fire. But this man stood weaponless, bleeding, yet stronger than the storm itself. The man's grin sharpened. His bloodied hand reached outward, palm spread, as if inviting. "Choose." The soldier's stomach dropped. His finger hovered on the trigger. The word hadn't come from the walls this time. It had come from the man himself. Behind him, the girl's sob broke into a whisper, softer, fractured, but clear. "Daddy, please." The soldier inhaled once, steady. And fired. The blast shook the boards, echoing into silence. But when the smoke cleared, the man was gone. The soldier's breath caught. He scanned the floor. Blood smeared the wood, droplets scattered across frost. But the body wasn't there. The K9 barked violently, spinning toward the far end of the hall. The girl's scream followed. "He's not gone." The soldier whipped his rifle in the same direction, his chest tightening. The whisper returned, urgent now, carrying across the air with sharp command. "Help me." The soldier knew then, this was only beginning. The boards still rattled from the shot. Smoke hung in the air, stinging his lungs with each breath. The soldier's rifle stayed fixed on the empty stretch of floor where the man's body should have been. Nothing. Only a trail of blood droplets vanishing into shadows at the far end of the room. The K9 braced low, its nose skimming the ground, growl vibrating like a warning drum. Its hackles stood rigid, tail stiff, every nerve tuned toward the trail. The girl clung to the dog, her voice cracking, repeating the same fractured prayer. "Don't let him find me, don't let him find me." Her small body trembled so violently she seemed part of the storm that crept through the broken roof. The soldier inhaled deep, forcing calm, forcing order. He had seen men disappear in rubble, vanish in whiteouts, but never like this. Never leaving only whispers in their wake. "Stay with me," he muttered, his voice more to himself than them. "Help me." The whisper returned. This time closer, sharper. The K9 barked once, ears snapping forward. Its gaze locked on the trail of blood leading into the shadowed corridor beyond. The soldier steadied his rifle. He moved with care, boots crunching against frost, light cutting through dust. The trail wasn't random, it was deliberate, each drop spaced like breadcrumbs leading into dark. "Don't go," the girl shrieked, clutching the K9 tighter. "Please don't go. If you follow, he'll find me again." The soldier's chest tightened. He crouched in front of her, lowering his voice. "Listen to me. I can't let him walk free. Not with you here. Do you understand?" Her tear-filled eyes lifted to his. "He always comes back. No matter where I run, he comes." The soldier steadied her trembling shoulder. "Not this time." The whisper cut across his words, louder, urgent now. "Help me." The sound bled through the walls, rattling the broken bunks, echoing against metal frames until it felt like the room itself was screaming. The girl wailed, pressing her hands to her ears. "Don't listen. He'll trick you." The soldier rose, rifle steady. "He doesn't get to trick me." The K9 growled louder, pulling hard at the harness. Its strength nearly yanked him forward. The dog knew the hunt wasn't done. He stepped into the corridor. The air grew colder here, the walls narrowing into fractured stone. Frost lined the edges, and every step sounded louder, magnified in silence. "Help me!" The whisper chased him, weaving from behind, above, ahead. It circled until direction lost meaning. The canine barked again, one loud crack that stopped him in place. Its nose pressed low to the floor. Blood smeared in a pattern, not dragged, not stumbled. Walked. The soldier's stomach sank. Whoever, or whatever, had left this trail wasn't fleeing. They were leading. He steadied his rifle, every muscle taut. His voice cut harsh into the dark. "Show yourself." Silence answered first. Then laughter, wet, broken, rattling against the corridor walls. The girl screamed from behind, her words jagged. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's pulse pounded. He snapped his light across the walls. Shadows twisted, bending in unnatural ways. "Help me! Help me!" Two voices now, overlapping, distorted. The soldier's throat tightened. His hands didn't waver, but his mind burned with questions. How many were there? Was this still one man, or had the whisper multiplied? The canine barked twice, sharp, final, locking onto a doorway ahead. Its body stiffened, ready. The soldier advanced, each step echoing louder. He reached the frame and pressed his shoulder against the wall. His breath fogged in the narrow space. He signaled the dog forward. The canine surged, claws clicking, teeth bared. It halted in the doorway, body rigid. Its growl rolled deep. The soldier swung the light inside. The room was nearly empty. Just a table, broken chairs, frost webbing across the floor. And on the far wall, scratches. Long, desperate gouges carved deep into wood. The girl whimpered, her voice a broken whisper. "He kept me here." The soldier's chest froze. He turned sharply toward her. Her eyes were locked on the wall, wide, distant, trembling with memory. "Help me!" The whisper roared again, louder than before. The scratches seemed to pulse in the light. The soldier traced them with his beam, each mark overlapping, some so deep the wood had nearly split. A cage of scratches. A place of waiting. The canine barked violently, teeth snapping, its fury aimed dead at the wall. And then, blood. Fresh, seeping from the cracks in the wood, running down in thin rivulets. The soldier steadied his rifle, his stomach a knot. "Help me!" The voice was urgent now, cracking with desperation. The girl wailed, clutching her head. "Don't listen. Please don't listen. He'll find me again." The soldier's breath came ragged. His instincts warred. Everything he had ever been taught screamed at him to answer. To save. To respond. But the girl's fear carved sharper than any bullet. He turned to her, his voice a growl over the roar. "Tell me. Who is he?" Her lips quivered. Tears streaked her cheeks. She whispered the only words she could. "The one I ran from." The soldier's throat burned. His finger curled tight against the trigger. The wall shuddered. The scratches widened. And from the cracks, pale fingers clawed outward, skin torn, nails ragged. "Help me!" The soldier staggered back, rifle sight locked. The canine lunged, barking with primal force, teeth bared at the reaching hand. The girl screamed, collapsing against the dog, voice cracking apart. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's chest heaved. His ears rang. His pulse thundered. The voice surged one final time, urgent, commanding. "Help me!" The scratches tore wider. The hand forced through. Then another. Arms clawing into the room, dragging something forward. The soldier braced, rifle aimed. And the girl's scream pierced sharper than the storm itself. "Daddy, don't. The soldier's breath caught. His finger froze on the trigger. He hesitated. The soldier's finger hovered on the trigger, but his breath locked in his throat. The girl's scream, "Daddy, don't," clung to him like ice. He had squeezed the trigger through storms, through ambushes, through split-second moments where hesitation meant death. But now, with that word echoing behind him, his body faltered. The hands forced further through the cracks, clawing at the air. Skin pale, nails torn, fingers bent at odd angles. They moved with violent purpose, not desperation. "Help me!" The voice slammed into the room, louder than before, ragged with urgency. It shook the frames of the bunks, rattled the broken table legs, knocked snow loose from beams above. The K9 lunged, its body surging forward with primal fury. Its teeth snapped, just short of the clawing hands, foam flecking at its jaws. Its bark roared in the soldier's chest, anchoring him, pulling him out of hesitation. The girl sobbed into the dog's fur, her cries breaking into fragments. "Don't let him find me. Please, Daddy, don't let him find me." The soldier's jaw clenched. His rifle sight locked on the pale arms dragging further into the room. His voice came out harsh, cold, steady. "Stay where you are." The whisper snapped back, sharp and demanding. "Help me." The hands clawed wider, dragging shoulders into the gap. Flesh tore against the splintered wood, blood smearing across the wall, but the figure didn't falter. It pushed harder, breaking itself to get through. The soldier's breath came slow, deliberate. He pressed the stock tighter against his shoulder. His finger curled again. The figure's head broke through. Pale, blood-streaked, hair matted, eyes wide and unblinking. Its mouth opened in a snarl that didn't match the words it forced out. "Help me." The soldier fired. The blast lit the corridor, the bullet striking the figure square in the chest. It jerked back, slamming against the wall. Blood splattered across the wood, staining the frost beneath. For a moment, silence. Then laughter. Broken, wet, crawling across the boards. The girl screamed louder, curling tighter against the K9. "He won't stop. He won't stop." The K9 lunged again, growl vibrating through the floor, barking sharp and furious. It tore at the air, desperate to attack. The soldier steadied his rifle. His pulse thundered, but his stance held. He had fired clean, but the figure was still pressing forward. Its head lolled, its eyes gleaming with something sharp, its grin splitting wider through blood. "Help me." The voice cracked louder, desperate but triumphant. The soldier barked his own command, his voice raw. "Stay back." The figure didn't stop. Its chest heaved, blood pouring, but its arms reached wider, pulling its torso through the shattered wall. The K9 snapped its jaws, lunging closer, barely restrained by the harness. The girl wailed, words spiraling. "He sees me. He sees me." The soldier's breath hitched. He knew that look, the recognition in the figure's eyes. Not at him. At her. "Found you," the voice rasped, layered with the whisper. The soldier fired again. The second blast rocked the wall. Splinters flew. Blood sprayed in a wide arc. The figure slammed back, collapsing half into the room, half trapped in the wall. The K9 lunged, teeth flashing, jaws clamping down on its arm. The dog snarled, shaking violently, ripping flesh and fabric. The sound was raw, primal. The soldier's ears rang. His eyes locked on the scene. The figure should have collapsed. It should have died. But even as the dog tore, the figure's grin widened. Its voice cracked through the chaos. "Help me." The whisper fractured again, echoing across the corridor, overlapping into dozens of voices, distorted and broken. "Help me, help me, help me." The soldier's knees buckled under the weight of it. His vision blurred, ears ringing with the sound. He staggered back a step, forcing breath through clenched teeth. The girl shrieked, her voice tearing her throat. "Daddy, don't let him!" The K9 ripped again, blood spraying across the frost, but the figure still moved. Its other arm clawed upward, reaching toward the child, fingers twitching. The soldier's stomach turned to fire. He raised the rifle once more, stepping forward. His voice split through the storm. "You don't touch her!" He fired. The blast roared. The bullet struck the figure's head, snapping it back, blood splattering against the corridor wall. The laughter stopped. The whisper fell silent. The body went limp in the dog's jaws, its arms falling slack against the floor. The K9 growled, teeth tearing free, blood dripping from its muzzle. It stood guard, chest heaving, eyes locked on the body. The soldier's breath came ragged. His hands trembled for the first time that night. He stared at the broken figure lying across the frost. The girl sobbed into the dog, her voice soft, fragile. "Is it over?" The soldier didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the figure, waiting for movement, waiting for another whisper. Silence. And then, "Help me!" The voice curled from the floorboards themselves, rising from beneath the frost, beneath the boards, beneath the earth. The soldier's stomach dropped. His eyes widened. The girl screamed. The K9 barked violently, spinning toward the hatch at the end of the corridor. The soldier knew then. The body wasn't the end. It had never been. The whispers weren't coming from the man. They were coming from what lay beneath. The whisper rose from the floorboards, curling through frost and splinters, faint at first but unmistakable. "Help me!" The soldier froze. His rifle sight remained trained on the limp body sprawled across the corridor, blood pooled black in the cold. But the voice wasn't coming from the man anymore. It vibrated beneath his boots, seeping through the wood like the ground itself spoke. The K9 bristled, hackles high, ears swiveling. It spun away from the corpse, body rigid, nose pressed low to the boards. Its growl deepened, primal, unrelenting. The girl shrieked, clutching the dog's fur with trembling hands. Her voice cracked into frantic sobs. "Don't let him out. Don't let him find me again." The soldier's stomach tightened. His eyes darted to the far end of the corridor. A hatch lay there, recessed into the floor, edges warped with age. Nails rusted, wood bowed. His pulse spiked. He knew then, whatever he had been fighting wasn't trapped in the man. It was under them. "Help me!" The voice surged again, louder now. "Help me!" It layered, multiplying, dozens of whispers folding into one another. Each voice sharp, distorted, overlapping until the words fractured. "Help me, help me, help me." The soldier staggered, pressing one hand to his temple. The sound drilled through bone, not just heard but felt. The K9 barked once, sharp and violent. Its body strained at the harness, claws raking splinters from the boards. It barked again, snapping its teeth, certain of the threat below. The girl sobbed harder, pressing her forehead against the dog's back. "He said he'd always find me, he promised he would." The soldier crouched low, his voice breaking rough through the storm. "Who is he?" Her lips quivered. Her words spilled out in fragments. "The one I ran from, the one who locked me in." She clamped her eyes shut, trembling. "He told me even if I hid, he'd still hear me whisper." The soldier's throat burned. He turned his gaze back to the hatch, heart pounding. The boards shuddered. Nails squealed as they shifted, dust raining down in fine streams. "Help me!" The voices screamed together, not pleading anymore but demanding. The soldier's jaw clenched. He raised his rifle, sight locked on the hatch. His voice cut hard into the chaos. "You don't get her." The whispers crashed back, multiplied further. "Help me. Don't leave me." Please. Open it. Help me. The storm circled them, spiraling through the corridor. The soldier's ears rang, vision swimming. The K9 barked and barked, anchoring him against the tide. The girl wailed, her voice tearing. Don't listen. Daddy, please don't listen. The soldier gritted his teeth, forcing his breath steady. He pressed his weight into the rifle, anchoring himself to its steel, to its certainty. The hatch buckled upward, the wood splitting against the force beneath. Splinters cracked, nails snapping loose and skittering across the frost. The whisper surged louder. Help me! The soldier staggered, his chest heaving. Sweat chilled his skin despite the cold air. The K9 lunged forward, dragging him toward the hatch, teeth snapping, fury in its every muscle. The soldier pulled back hard on the harness, forcing the animal into restraint. Hold, he barked, his voice cutting through even the storm. The dog froze, but its growl vibrated like a living wire, fury restrained only by discipline. The girl screamed again, her whisper spiraling out. Don't let him find me, don't let him find me. The soldier's mind burned. His training screamed to open, to check, to rescue. His gut screamed to burn it shut. The whisper fractured into hundreds now, overlapping, distorted, circling until words lost meaning. Help me, help me, help me. Help me. Choose. The single word cut sharp through the noise, louder than the rest. Choose. The soldier's blood iced. His breath stuttered. The words slammed into him like a hammer. The girl shrieked louder, clutching tighter at the dog. Don't choose him. Please don't. The soldier's grip on the rifle tightened. His vision locked on the hatch. The wood trembled, the edges splitting. Something pressed against it, desperate to break through. Choose. The voices screamed again, circling, fractured, overlapping, until the sound was no longer human but a storm of static. The K9 barked once more, violent, sharp, decisive. The soldier braced. His knees bent, rifle locked, his voice a roar above it all. Not tonight. The hatch exploded upward, boards shattering, dust and frost erupting into the air. From the hole beneath, pale arms clawed upward, tearing at the edges. Eyes gleamed in the darkness, wide and unblinking, locking not on him, but on the girl. She screamed, breaking into raw panic. Daddy, don't let him find me. The soldier's chest burned. His rifle sight locked. Choose. The voice ripped the air, louder than thunder, sharper than gunfire. The soldier's finger curled against the trigger. The K9 lunged forward, teeth flashing, fury unleashed. The girl's sob cracked into silence, her whisper trembling through the chaos. Don't let him take me. The hatch split wider. Darkness poured out. And the soldier realized he had seconds. One decision. One choice. The hatch yawned open, boards cracked like splintered ribs. Darkness poured upward, thick as smoke, swallowing the light from the soldier's beam. The air turned heavy, cold pressing sharp into his lungs. The whispers erupted in unison. Help me, help me, help me. Dozens. Hundreds. All circling, overlapping, twisting until they no longer sounded like pleas but like a storm chewing through the air. The soldier braced, rifle pressed firm, his shoulders straining against the recoil he hadn't yet taken. Sweat slid cold down his temple, his lungs burning with the weight of sound. The K9 lunged at the hatch, teeth bared, barking so violently the sound cracked the air like a whip. Its body strained against the harness, claws gouging long scars into the wood. Its certainty anchored him when his senses frayed. The girl shrieked, pressing her hands to her ears, rocking in frantic sobs. He's everywhere. Don't let him find me. Daddy, please. The soldier clenched his jaw. He forced his voice through the roar, sharp, commanding. Stay with me. The darkness shifted. Something moved within it, shapes flickering like bodies pressing against smoke. Pale hands clawed at the edges of the hatch, dozens this time, not one. They pulled, twisted, dragging themselves upward, but never fully surfacing. "Help me! Help me! Don't leave me! Please!" The soldier's chest burned. His trigger finger tightened. He had faced ambushes, gunfire, grenades, but nothing like this, nothing that attacked through sound, through memory. The girl's scream cracked again, tearing through the storm. "He promised he'd always find me. Even if I ran, he said he'd hear me whisper." Her words sliced into him sharper than the voices did. She wasn't just afraid. She was certain. The canine barked once, sharp, cutting through. Its amber eyes locked on the hatch, body trembling with restraint. The soldier's heart slammed against his ribs. He shouted into the dark. "What do you want?" The whispers shattered into chaos. "Help me. Open. Don't leave me. She's mine. Choose." The single word bled through them all, sharper, louder. "Choose." The soldier staggered, his ears ringing with the command. His eyes blurred as the voices folded together into one crashing wave. The girl clutched the dog's fur, her face streaked with tears. "Don't choose him. Daddy, please don't choose him." The soldier's throat burned. He had seconds. Maybe less. The hatch pulsed, widening with every whisper, the darkness pushing harder. Pale faces flickered in the void, half-formed, grinning, reaching. The K9 lunged again, snarling so violently the sound rattled the corridor. The soldier steadied his rifle, every muscle taut. His mind screamed with the storm. Save them. Kill it. Protect her. Follow training. Trust instinct. All of it collided at once. "Help me. Choose. Help me. Choose." The words circled, twisting until they were no longer separate. Until they were one. "Help me or choose." The soldier's jaw tightened. His finger trembled on the trigger. His breath came harsh, fogging the air. The girl's voice cut through, small but desperate. "If you choose him, you lose me." The soldier froze. Her words held more weight than the storm, more truth than the whisper. The K9 barked again, decisive, slamming its body against the edge of the hatch. The soldier staggered back half a step, dragging the girl with him. His voice roared into the storm. "Not her. You don't get her." The whispers screamed back, fractured, distorted, overlapping into chaos so loud the walls rattled, frost raining from the beams. "Help me, help me, help me. Choose, choose, choose. Don't leave me. She's mine. Help me." The soldier's knees buckled under the force of it. His pulse thundered in his ears, each beat another hammer against the storm. The girl's sobs cracked into a final whisper. "Don't let him take me." The soldier's throat tightened. He tightened his grip on her small arm, pulling her behind him, pressing her against the K9's flank. The dog planted itself between them and the hatch, body trembling with fury, eyes burning bright. "Choose." The command slammed again, vibrating the corridor, shattering dust loose from the ceiling. The soldier steadied his rifle, sight locked on the hatch, and for the first time he spoke not just as a soldier but as the man she had called him. "I choose her." The darkness surged upward, slamming against the edges of the hatch, trying to force its way out. Pale faces pressed closer, mouths wide, eyes gleaming, hands clawing. The soldier's finger curled. His breath steadied. He fired. The blast ripped through the storm. Light and sound slammed into the dark. The whispers fractured, breaking apart, dozens screaming over one another until the air itself shook. The girl shrieked, clutching her ears. The K-9 barked with feral fury, lunging at the hatch, its teeth snapping into smoke. The soldier roared over it all, voice breaking raw. "You don't take her!" The storm howled back. "Help me! Choose! Help me!" The words overlapped, distorted, screaming louder until his ears rang with blood. And then, silence. It dropped like a blade, sharp, cutting every sound away. The soldier staggered, breath ragged, rifle trembling. The girl whimpered against the dog, her sobs breaking the quiet. The K-9 braced at the hatch, body rigid, its growl low but unrelenting. The soldier stared at the yawning dark. The boards split wide, the void gaping. Nothing moved. No whispers came. For the first time that night, he feared the silence more than the sound. His voice dropped, raw, low. "If you were me, would you fire again, or wait?" The K-9 growled louder, claws gouging deeper. The girl whispered into the quiet, fragile, trembling. "He's still there." The soldier's chest burned. He steadied the rifle, sweat cold against his temple. And as the silence stretched too long, the whisper returned. Not fractured. Not multiplied. One voice. "Choose." The silence hung heavy, pressing against the soldier's chest harder than the storm ever could. His rifle stayed trained on the gaping hatch, the beam of his flashlight cutting only a narrow line into the void. Beyond it, nothing moved. Nothing stirred. But the voice did. "Choose." It seeped through the boards like smoke, curling through the air, wrapping around him. Not shouted. Not begged. Commanded. The soldier's finger twitched on the trigger. His lungs burned with shallow, ragged breaths. He had followed orders his entire life, clear, direct, absolute. But this command came from no voice he recognized, no uniform he trusted. And still, it pressed into him with the weight of authority. "Choose." The girl sobbed into the dog's fur, her words breaking into shards. "Don't choose him, Daddy. Please don't." The soldier's throat tightened. He crouched lower, shielding her with his body. He could feel her tremors rattling through his own chest. Her words weren't just fear, they were certainty. Whatever waited in that hatch had claimed her once before. The K-9 bristled, its growl vibrating like a motor, low and deep, every hair on its body raised. Its amber eyes didn't leave the hatch, its stance solid, immovable. "Choose." The command cracked louder now, rattling dust from the beams, sending nails squealing in their sockets. The soldier barked back, his voice raw, defiant. "I already chose." The darkness pulsed, like a living thing recoiling and then pressing forward again. The pale faces flickered within, eyes wide, mouths grinning. Hands reached, twitching against the edges, clawing for purchase. "Choose." The single word split now, fracturing, multiplying, overlapping until the corridor filled with distorted echoes of the same demand. "Choose, choose, choose, choose." The soldier's ears rang. His vision swam. His knees trembled under the weight of sound. The girl wailed louder, clutching his sleeve. "If you choose him, you lose me." Her words carved through the storm like a blade. They steadied him. He looked down at her, her tear-streaked face, her trembling lips, her eyes that begged him to stay hers. For the first time, he understood, the choice wasn't between saving and destroying. It was between surrender and protection. He pressed her back against the K-9's flank. The dog braced itself, pushing into her with warm, steady force, anchoring her. The soldier's voice roared into the storm. "I choose her." The darkness screamed back, a howl of rage that shattered the silence, rattled the corridor, cracked the boards beneath their boots. "Help me. Choose. She's mine." The words overlapped, distorted, fractured into a wall of fury. The hatch convulsed, splinters snapping, dust exploding outward. The pale hands reached further, clawing at the floor, dragging bodies half-formed into the room. The soldier fired. The rifle cracked, muzzle flash lighting the void. A figure jerked back, dissolving into smoke, vanishing into the hatch. The K9 lunged, jaws snapping, teeth clamping down on another hand clawing upward. Blood sprayed across the frost. The dog shook violently, ripping the limb free. The girl screamed, covering her face, sobbing into the dog's side. The whispers roared louder, hundreds crashing over one another. Choose. Help me. Choose. Please. Choose. The soldier's ears rang with blood. His vision blurred. His rifle trembled in his grip, but his stance held. He shouted into the chaos, his voice breaking. You don't get to take her. The hatch pulsed again, darkness boiling upward, shapes forming and dissolving within it. Faces pressed against the edge, grinning with jagged teeth, eyes hollow but burning. Choose. The soldier's chest heaved. His finger curled again. His mind screamed to end it, to fire until nothing was left. But then the voice changed. It wasn't from the hatch. It wasn't fractured. It was small. Soft. Close. Daddy. The soldier froze. His head snapped toward the girl. But her lips hadn't moved. Her face was buried against the dog's fur, sobbing. The voice had come from the hatch. Daddy. His stomach dropped. Sweat chilled his back despite the cold. The voice shifted, higher now, fragile. Daddy, I can't find you. The soldier's breath caught. His knees weakened. It wasn't just whispering anymore. It was mimicking. The girl lifted her head, eyes wide, tears freezing on her cheeks. Don't listen. It's not me. Don't let him trick you. Daddy, help me. The voice coiled from the hatch again, identical to hers, layered with her sobs. The soldier's mind split. He aimed the rifle dead at the void, but the sound clawed at his heart. Every instinct screamed to protect, to save. The K9 barked violently, lunging again, its teeth clamping the edge of the hatch. Its growl vibrated through the soldier's chest, anchoring him back into the moment. Choose. The command slammed again, sharp, final. The soldier's breath steadied. His vision sharpened. His voice roared. I choose her. The darkness screamed, a hollow fury that shook the building to its bones. The hatch convulsed, boards splintering outward, shadows thrashing like waves. The girl wailed louder, her whisper breaking raw. Don't let him take me. The soldier raised the rifle. His chest burned. His finger tightened. The darkness lunged upward, swallowing the beam of light. Choose. The word thundered so loud it cracked the rafters, shook snow loose from the ceiling, rattled his very bones. The soldier fired into the heart of it. The rifle's blast tore into the void, muzzle flash cutting the dark in a strobe of fire. For an instant, the shadows recoiled, faces and hands dissolving into smoke. The silence after was heavier than the shot, pressing against the soldier's skull like a weight. The hatch gaped wide. Darkness churned within, but the voices fell quiet. No whispers. No commands. Just stillness. The soldier's chest heaved. His grip trembled on the rifle, but he held his sight steady. His ears rang, not just from the shot but from the memory of the voice, her voice, echoing from the hatch. Behind him, the girl clung to the K9, sobs shaking her small body. The dog stood rigid, hackles raised, eyes burning into the dark. Its growl was low now, not fury but warning. Not done yet. The soldier whispered into the silence, voice raw. Show yourself. Nothing moved. He stepped closer, boots crunching frost. His breath fogged white, drifting into the dark, swallowed before it could fade. Daddy. The words slipped from the hatch, soft, fragile, breaking the silence like glass underfoot. The soldier froze. His rifle locked, but his body faltered. It wasn't just her voice this time, it was her tone. The same fear. The same trembling edge. The girl shrieked behind him, her words torn raw. "It's not me. Don't believe it." The soldier's chest burned. His throat tightened around the memory of too many nights where voices had begged from rubble, from smoke. He had always listened. Always answered. But this wasn't rescue. This was trap. He forced his breath steady. Not tonight. The hatch convulsed. Darkness surged upward one final time, clawing at the air, pale hands and faces twisting together into a wave of shadow. "Choose." The command cracked louder than before, vibrating through the beams, rattling nails loose. The building itself groaned as if ready to collapse. The soldier roared back, his voice raw. "I already did." He fired again, shot after shot, each burst lighting the corridor in flashes of fire. The K9 lunged beside him, snarling, jaws clamping into smoke and bone, ripping at the forms that clawed upward. The girl screamed, her voice splitting the storm. "Don't let him take me. Daddy, please." The soldier's chest tore open with her words. His arms burned with recoil, his ears rang, his vision blurred. But he didn't stop. He pressed forward, every round an answer, every breath a vow. The whispers screamed in rage, fractured into chaos. "Help me. She's mine. Don't leave me. Choose." And then, silence. The darkness recoiled, folding back into itself, dragging the pale hands and faces down with it. The hatch slammed shut with a crack that rattled the boards. Dust burst upward in a cloud. The soldier staggered, rifle still raised, his breath tearing his throat. The silence after felt wrong, heavier than before, but it held. The K9 braced at the hatch, growl fading into a low huff, chest heaving. Its eyes stayed locked, but its body eased, as though it sensed the storm was over. The girl sobbed into its fur, then slowly lifted her face. Her eyes, wide and wet, met the soldier's. "Is it gone?" The soldier's throat tightened. He lowered his rifle slowly, his body trembling with exhaustion. "For now." She shook her head violently. "He'll come back. He always comes back." The soldier crouched beside her, his voice low, steady. "Not while I'm here." The K9 pressed into both of them, its body warm, grounding them in the cold. Outside, the wind shifted. Snow fell softer, the storm easing. Dawn's faint light crept through the broken roof, painting the corridor in pale blue. The soldier helped her to her feet. She leaned into the dog, her small hand gripping its fur tight. Her lips trembled as she whispered, softer now, no longer broken by panic. "Don't let him find me." The soldier met her eyes. "He won't." They moved together toward the exit, boots crunching frost, the K9 leading with sharp vigilance. Behind them, the hatch sat silent, cracks sealed, dust covering its edges. But the soldier knew silence was never the same as absence. Outside, the cold air cut clean, honest. The barracks loomed behind them, a husk filled with echoes. Snow stretched wide, endless, but the horizon glowed faint with light. The girl leaned into the dog, whispering again, this time softer, steady. "Thank you." The soldier's chest loosened. His breath steadied. For the first time that night, the word didn't feel like a plea. It felt like survival. He looked down at her, his voice quiet, raw. "You're safe now." The K9 barked once, sharp, final, as if sealing the promise. The soldier stared back at the barracks one last time, the silence pressing at his ears. He knew the story wasn't finished. Not really. Shadows didn't vanish with one night. But she was alive. She was his choice. And sometimes, that was enough. As they walked into the pale dawn, his thoughts lingered, heavy and unshakable. He knew this story would stay with him forever, maybe with you too. If you'd like to walk with us on more journeys, stay close.